Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to the Ancient Legends Challenge. In the last episode, Evo met the finale of his reign. He hasn't passed away yet, but it's pretty clear, with only one day remaining on his lifespan, the mountain has spoken, and he is not welcome here anymore, not after his great betrayal. So today is going to be his final day here, and he's going to be leaving Belle to pick up all of the pieces that he's left behind. And I mean, he has really done a number on his family. Not only does Tusk not want anything to do with this drama, but Fern is now leaving too, and she's about to have a secret baby of her own. It seems quite likely that she's going to abandon everything that her mother set for her, all of the future that she had in this alliance with Jester. And poor Jester too, he's starting to get a little bit cold, which means that Melody's influence is fading on the mountain. So our tribes are going to have to scramble to come together in unity before it's too late. It is much easier said than done though, because I would imagine that Kunukir in particular is going to be very, very suspicious of these new leaders. Belle might be a little bit more of a peaceful sort, especially after seeing how Evo treated her family after learning about it from Tusk. But that doesn't mean that Kunukir is going to believe her. I mean, as far as he knew, Anareme's family wasn't particularly forgiving, so he's not going to be either. It's going to take quite a bit to convince him that these creatures are safe. For now, let's bring him down here. I suppose along the way he could always hunt a few of these bunnies. He's actually going to request that Hydra comes with him too. Hydra is his daughter, and I'm sure aside from the fact that she would just offer some backup, it would definitely ease his mind a bit as he confronts these creatures. He probably wants her to know a little bit more about the politics of the tribe. Maybe he's hoping that she's going to take on his position someday and keep everybody safe on the mountain. We'll bring her over here too then. That way they can all confront each other tomorrow morning. And that leaves the kids back here to hopefully hunt down that walrus deer again. They were chasing after one of the many, many deers that we have on this mountain. But I'm wondering if maybe it escaped off to sea. I wonder if Tota's little bunny guides could lead her in the right direction. Maybe we'll bring her right down to the shore, assuming there aren't any leeches in the water at least. It looks okay for now, but we'll have to keep a very close eye on her. Oh my gosh, really, Tota? Alright, go ahead and scoop that one up. I wonder if maybe Amanda should follow you then? I suppose she probably would notice that her hunting partner is getting a little bit off track. She seems to be quite perceptive after all, and she has to be if she's going to be a grand hunter just like her mother. So let's bring her down this way so she can settle down right behind Tota, and we can have her pick up a little bit of this snow too. That way the pathway is going to be a bit wider for them, so if they do have to make any grand escape, they should be able to do so. Tota's going to be so upset though because she can't really go following after her bunny guides if somebody is watching this closely. And speaking of watching, we do have Snowshoe back here too, right on top of his stump, and he finally has his third gem. So he's ready to graduate along with all of his siblings. And I don't think he's going to waste a moment here. Oh, unless he goes after the bunnies. Should we have him swipe up that one last bunny for Skitty? We'll have him attack it. Skitty can pick up the meat, and then he is gone. I guess that's kind of like his parting gift, just to thank her for teaching him over the years, even if he was a little bit ungrateful. So unfortunately, that does mean that Skitty has been left all alone. She doesn't have any more children to teach. We do have a couple of new babies in the nest, but they're a little bit too young to do any root collecting right now. So she's all on her own here, aside from one little sunbeam who's still trying desperately to claw his way out of the snow. I guess in a way she could even rescue him. He's probably going to get pretty cold out there all on his own anyways, so let's bring him right down to her side. We'll have her scoop up all of those roots to feed him. Maybe he could even settle down on top of that stump. That way he could keep a good lookout while she searches for the food. She is probably quite surprised to see somebody out here so far. She thought everybody had already left that side of the mountain, and she's probably a little bit concerned that he's part of this evil family she's heard so much about. Skitty is not a creature of war after all. All of these talks about war have really unsettled her, and she hates to think that these children are going to be thrown into the war next. So hopefully he can find a way to convince her overnight that he is no threat. He doesn't even know that his own brother Pineapple fell because of this skirmish over here. I feel like he probably was too far away to see it with his own eyes. So he's going to have a lot of catching up to do too, if he does make it back to his family. He is getting pretty close to the end of his lifespan, so I'm not sure if it's going to happen. Oh, and Sylvia, it looks like you can maybe hunt down your very first bunny. I'm sure that your father is going to be quite impressed with you. Oh no, let me guess. Tota? Yep, you found the leeches. You are going to be like a little leech magnet in there. We don't often spend too much time by the waterside, so there's probably quite a few leeches who are looking for a good meal. Oh, Amanda's going to have so much work ahead of her. Well, we'll worry about that on the next turn. Right now we need to get Jester to a warmer location. Sylvia's going to be fine on her own now since she does have the 2 gems. So despite the bluebirds lurking right over their heads, nobody should have to worry about getting scooped up and taken away. If we bring Jester over here, just for the moment, that should warm him up enough that he won't take any damage on the next turn. That'll warm up Ivory too, so perhaps she could go sneaking after her mother again. Now Belle really didn't want her getting involved in this, but she is far too curious. Tusk on the other hand, he's just out here to clear out the ports, so we'll have him start carving out some pathways. He's just kind of doing his own thing. And last but not least, we have this family over here. Clover and what may or may not be his 2 twins. I mean, even if we're not saying these are his kids, I'm sure he would take care of them anyways. He would treat them like they're his own. So for all intents and purposes, I'm willing to say that Clover is a proud father. I guess we might as well bring him over this way, so we can clear out a little bit more space for his babies to roam. Ah, and I see you, little bunny. If you get just one step closer, I think they're hopping around all of these clovers. Yeah, that's probably what they're munching on. So maybe if Triss scoots her way out of the nest, yes, that's a perfect way for her to just let them fall into her trap. Excellent. So we have a nice big feast for both of the twins on the next turn. And we'll have to make sure that she picks up that nest too, because we will need the extra nesting material for our families, and especially for Fern. She needs to find a good place to have her baby too. So I think we should be ready to skip the day. Let's come over here so we can watch as Avo finally passes away. He finally succumbs to the mountain's cold, to Melody and her influence. What? Oh my goodness. Sylvia? How did you attract a balance bear? Oh my gosh, right in front of the ports too? Well, okay. On the bright side, our walrus deer is in the ocean, so I guess Tota's bunny guides weren't lying to her after all. Despite all of those leeches, at least they found the walrus deer. But oh my gosh, we have much, much bigger things to worry about over here. Tusk, what on earth are you going to do? I mean, Sylvia's starting to freeze anyways. Thankfully, or no, it looks like she doesn't have one of her turns. It's kind of hard to tell because those colors are so similar. So Sylvia, you better just run. Let's bring you straight up here, so at least you won't be taking any damage from the balance bear. She's so sick anyways. One swipe from the balance bear is quite likely to end her life. Oh, this is not good. I mean, the one silver lining is that the balance bears are very slow, so we might be able to maneuver our tribe around him. But quite a few of our creatures have lost their grand strength. Belle, of course, is the strongest of all. If we set this up so we can look at their strength attributes, you can see that, aside from Belle and her children, most of our creatures aren't going to last very long against a balance bear. So this might be a problem. But on the same page, I guess this might be a chance for you to prove yourself, to show Kunuk here that you're no threat, and that you're willing to risk your life just to make sure the tribe can progress, to get back on the right page. I was actually thinking that maybe she could use these ports as a way to gain his trust too. Like, Melody is kind of their common ground. All of the old families seem to follow Melody's ways, because they're known as Melody's Flames. They have that heat body and their inactive traits. So if she says that they need to connect themselves with Melody again by going to these thawed-out ports, I'm sure Kunukir couldn't argue with that. But he would want to send his daughter Hydra ahead, perhaps even as a little spy, just to make sure that they're not planning anything nefarious, you know? Because what he knows of Anareme's family is not very pleasant, so he doesn't want to take any chances. But yeah, that balance bear is definitely throwing a bit of a wrench in our plans. So as Sylvia returns with the news, maybe Tusk could just build a pathway around the balance bear? I mean, as long as they don't bother it, maybe he'll just go after the bunnies and stuff instead? We can hope anyways. I'm not sure how well it's going to work, but we'll give it a try. We'll bring Tusk over here with the bluebird following directly over his head. Oh my gosh. Is that a good sign, little bluebird? Hopefully that means that you think we're doing the right thing here. We might as well have him break down this wall right up to the hot springs too, because we might need our creatures to settle down inside them soon. Sylvia's getting so cold. Oh, Belle, what are you going to do? Maybe send Ivory back home? I know she's not happy that Ivory disobeyed her wishes anyways, so she would just boot her right back to her father's side and tell her no more sneaking. Gosh, the way that this balance bear appeared right in front of Sylvia, who was left all on her own, it almost makes me wonder if perhaps that's Evo returning to the mountain once more. Just like he was ambushed by that pack of ram foxes, Sylvia was ambushed in her time alone too. So maybe that's going to be his claim to fame? A lot of you have said that he should be like the god of betrayal or something, so I wonder if that would be how he goes about showing his true strength. Ambushing creatures in their times of greatest need. Now, speaking of great need, I think you're going to want to take that leech off of Tota for us, Amanda. Go ahead and pick off the leech and lick her wounds, because she is not very likely to leave the ocean. She just smelled that walrus deer in the distance, though thanks to all the commotion on the other side of the island, it seems like it may have left us. Well, hopefully you guys can find it again. I mean, it couldn't have gotten too far, right? And for whatever reason, it seems like the walrus deer really like to spend most of their time by the ocean. Probably because they don't have to deal with the leeches like we do. Let's have Clover call his little babies out of the nest. We'll have Thunder scoot over this way, and then if we move Clover here, we should be able to pick up the nest right under Pip's feet, leaving plenty of material for Fern to use for her baby. I guess that's another good part about leaving for a warmer island. It means that we should be able to pick up plenty more nesting material for our future families too. So we'll spend a little bit of time on whatever island this is before we head off for, hopefully, our next mountain. Oh my goodness, did you guys find another walrus deer? Well, I guess that would be a pretty good bonding exercise too, if you guys could manage to take down a walrus deer together. I'm not sure if Kunukir would really go chasing after it right now, but it's good to know that it's around, and we have damaged it too. It kind of reminds me of Anareme's original plan, like it's almost all coming full circle. Anareme's intentions with the walrus deer may have been a little bit less kind than Belle's, but it's still the same base idea. So let's have Kunukir nudge Hydra down toward the hot springs. That way she can carve their own path. Yeah, I'm sure part of Kunukir is just worried that these pathways they're carving aren't going to include his family. So he wants to make sure that they have some way to carry on in this mission too, and Hydra is going to assure that herself. You know, I think I want Belle to come over here and breed with Jester again on the next turn. He is getting very close to the end of his lifespan, so I'm a little bit worried that they're not going to have another baby before it's time to leave. He's probably not going to come with us anyways. I mean, being that close, he would just end up passing as soon as we get to the next island. So sending one of their babies would probably be a little bit more recommended. Now, a few episodes ago, I asked you guys what I should place in her mutation menu, and a lot of you said that we should probably go with the hammertail. Despite how important that normal tail is for the cold resistance, We do want the hammertail in our genetics so we can have a fully ancient creature in the future. So we'll place that just to weasel it into their traits. And then a lot of you also wanted to see the white fur on their babies, so we'll place that into her second slot. Now Fern, can we find a good place for you to go? I don't feel like this is quite far enough away. Oh, but maybe this stump would be? I do like that she's sitting right on top of a stump, so she can basically see for miles. And she has little bunnies hopping around her feet too, so we know that she has plenty to eat and plenty to feed her baby. She's going to be raising this baby all on her own, so she does need to be careful. And there's our walrus deer, just in time because you've taken plenty of damage, sir. I would hate to lose that meat somewhere off in the sea, so this time, Tota, make sure you don't lose this walrus deer, okay? We only have a couple more turns to make anyways. Little June sitting high atop his stump, and Skitty as well. You know, I do think that Skitty would love to have some children of her own someday. She loves watching after the babies of the tribe, but having her own little son or daughter would truly fill her heart with joy. So as the ever goofy ways of June's family shines through, she would probably start to feel quite smitten with the little sunbeam. Maybe she would wonder if she could start a family with him someday. He does actually have the bear hyena snout in his genetics. Ooh, I wonder if we could pop that onto one of the inactive traits of our babies. I would love to see that continue in their line somehow, so maybe we'll avoid putting any sort of snout gene in his mutation menu. Instead, we'll focus on boosting their strength, so they'll have some way to defend themselves against any potential threats, like balance bears for instance. And I guess other than that, we could try to keep those stripes on their babies. He does have the stripes in his inactive traits, so let's go ahead and pop that into Skitty's mutation menu as well. The stripes and those giant horns. There is the possibility that these babies could end up sick because they do share an immunity gene, but I guess that's a risk that they're willing to take. We'll just have Skitty dig up that root over there, then she can scoot on over here and hopefully breed with him. There we go. I suppose for now we could even have him call out on the stump. Maybe it's a song to celebrate their future family, but unless we find a little bit more nesting material, he isn't likely to be able to meet them. So let's have Skitty start making her way toward the outskirts of this pathway. That way we can hopefully find one of those little twiggy bushes. Though it seems like most of them are located up here, right in Anareme's territory. So let's have Kunuk here follow behind his daughter. We'll see if we can pick up a little bit of it on the next turn. But other than that, I think we're out of moves. So it's time to not only see what Fern's baby is going to look like, but to see where this balance bear is going to go too. I'm quite curious to see if it's going to lock onto Sylvia, or if maybe it'll be distracted by all of those bunnies. Well, I don't see it yet. In fact, it doesn't seem to have moved at all. Okay, so we might actually be able to sneak around this creature. If we play this right, maybe Tusk can build this pathway directly behind it and it won't even know that we're there. But look at this. Oh my gosh, have our wishes come true? Yes. Oh, this little baby looks almost just like Anareme. Oh, that is perfect. He has the hammer tail too, so he is a pretty decorated legend. But that digging trunk just like Anareme had. Those dark ram horns too. Oh, he is like a perfect reincarnation. A stronger reincarnation of his grandmother, the warlord. How very fitting that she's returned to us in this forbidden baby too. Like, I'm sure that's exactly what Fern is wondering herself, because this baby looks nothing like Pineapple. It's almost as if our deities themselves have intervened in a way. So as far as his name goes, I definitely want to connect it to Anareme in some fashion, but I'm not sure if Anareme II would really be the right way to do it, since this is a male baby now. So instead of using a less connected name from my list, if you guys have any ideas for Cuckoo's name, then let me know, and we'll name him in the next episode. And oh my gosh, can you imagine if Kunuk here saw this baby? That would not put his mind at ease. Everything Belle has been working toward to pick up the pieces of her family would very likely be undone if they saw this baby in the nest. So Fern is going to have to be very, very careful. It doesn't help that I'm sure she is instilling this idea in the baby, that he can trust absolutely no one. That's kind of how she feels now, after watching her own mate fall because of her brother's plans. I mean, if you can't trust your own family, then who can you trust? But Tota, I sure hope you still know what that walrus deer is. There he is playing in the tide pools. So let's have Snowshoe jump up here, so he can get a taste of the action too. He's been waiting for this for a very, very long time. Are you going straight into the ocean though? Oh, don't take any drowning damage out there. Oh my gosh. Well, hopefully we can finish him off. I don't want to lose all of that meat. Yeah, if we could just land like one more good swipe on him. There we go. Oh, then we can collect the gigantic feast afterwards. And then I suppose Tota could probably scoot herself out of the water so she won't attract any more leech attention. And I love how her bunnies are playing in the ocean too. Does she not have the cutest connection with these little guys? I'm not sure that Amanda and Snowshoe are going to think the same way though, so she might want to shoo her bunnies out of harm's way before the hunters get their hands on them instead. So before we end the episode, let's make sure that we start carving our pathways behind the balance bear. I mean, I think this should work. If he's not interested in us right now, I think as long as we stay out of his immediate line of sight, then we should be okay. I suppose Belle should probably stay in the front of the pack. She knows the danger's there after all, so she would want to be front and center, just to make sure that her babies are going to be safe. Though Tusk is not to be pushed aside either, and with his 4 days remaining, he really wants to finish his mission before it's too late. I wonder if that valiant behavior is going to catch the eye of anyone nearby. Perhaps even Hydra, who is supposed to technically be spying on these creatures, but I wonder if she's going to find herself a little bit too smitten. Her father is not likely to be too happy that she's cozying up with what might be the enemy, but I suppose it depends if Tusk is willing to open up his heart again. Oh my gosh, and I just realized. Oh, Triss passed away too. She's left both of her twins in Clover's care. Well, I know that he's going to take very, very good care of them, but that is still super sad. Poor Pip and Thunder. Is there any way that they could honor her memory? When she was really young, she loved collecting shells with her family. So I wonder if Thunder, with his hammer tail, could possibly find some on the shore. Maybe he could join our little hunting party to see what he can discover in the waves. Pip might not be able to collect them, but I suppose he could always turn his attentions to the land instead and go after the bunnies, just like he saw his mother doing when he was very, very young. She took down all of those bunnies when they were still in the nest. Yeah, I wonder if bunny hunting would actually be a better pastime for them? Oh, and we have permanent nest over here too. Wait a second. Oh, I thought that was another permanent nest over here. Oh, I was so excited. I thought maybe June would get to see his baby. But I'm thinking at this point, the best that he could possibly do is just guide Skitty over to the tribe. He knows that his time is really drawing to a close, so as much as I know he would like to meet this new little baby, this new little sunbeam, as I'm sure it'll end up being, he's going to have to settle for just making sure that Skitty is safe. So let's bring her straight over to this nest. I guess there is a slight possibility that he might be able to see this baby before he passes, and oh my goodness, sir, could you not get in the way? Well, at least we know the walrus deer is still alive and well. It's probably the very same one that Kunukia was attacking. So I don't know, Thunder. Maybe you'll have to change your course and go after the walrus deer instead. I'm sure your father would be quite proud if you managed to land a couple good hits. Ah, there you go, Clover, showing your stuff, showing off to your sons, no doubt. Maybe in the next episode they can become our next group of grand hunters. As long as no more of these balance bears get in the way, at least. Yeah, I'm really surprised that the balance bear chose to do, like, absolutely nothing, but I guess we won't complain. We should still be able to set our tribe up to leave in the next episode, so hopefully they're ready. I'm sure this next island is going to bring them closer to Melody than they've ever been before. It's clear that our deities aren't done with us yet, and Anareme in particular still has something up her sleeve if she's come back to our tribe in this new form. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!